City official is saying at city hospital, uninsured patients tend to have a shorter stay and fewer procedures performed than do the insured students, insured patients. Even though insured patients on average have slightly less serious medical problems at a time of admission to the hospital than uninsured patients have. Critics of the hospitals have concluded. So, the first one, what is B1? Critics of the hospital have concluded. It's straight away given. So,
it's a conclusion of the critics.
it's a conclusion of somebody, some critic. So, this is a conclusion. That the uninsured patients are not receiving proper medical care. So, this is something the critics of the hospital have concluded. However, this condition is almost certainly false. This is whose position? This conclusion? This conclusion?
City official.
This is again a conclusion?
Yes.
Is of this guy? Or of the author?
Of the official, yeah.
Yeah, city official, yes.
So this is an author or a city official, whatever you write. So both the words are conclusions. B1 and B2. Both are conclusions, right?
Yes. And opposing to each other.
But there is one irony. There is a however in between. So whenever there is a however, that means I make one statement. However, this is possible. When do I use this word, however? When
to contradict what has been said before.
Both
to contradict what the crux.
B1 and B2 are against each other.
Yes.
I'm talking to somebody. I make one statement, statement 1, followed by a however. Then I make a statement 2. Obviously, this is going to support this, or this is going to oppose this.
Oppose.
This is going to oppose it to this. He's a good student, etc., etc. However, he has failed in certain examination. So these two are contradictory. So that's the reason the formula says that watch out for a contradiction word. So what we have got? B1 conclusion, B2 again a conclusion. C1 and C2, say conclusion 1, conclusion 2. And the conclusions are opposing each other because we have got a however. Right? Got it or not?
Yes.
True. Any challenge? Do stop me. Do stop me. Both are conclusions. When do we use the word support? When it's a, what did I write?
It's a fact.
It's a fact. Drop this. Second is a conclusion. First is a support.
First is a fact.
Support. Support. First is the position. The second states the conclusion. E is the answer. Any challenge? Any challenge?
No, sir.
Still any difficulty? But did I not read the entire argument? So if I do not read the entire argument, I will not get the essence of the argument. They may twist it a bit and everything goes for a toss. In spite of the fact that you may be knowing it. But you are so much in a hurry and you wanted to play so smart that you jumped the gun. So read the argument, then only wait whether it's a fact or a conclusion. Identify whether it's a fact or a conclusion. Definitely check out for a word like however in between. That will give you the kind of understanding or drive you towards the correct answer very smoothly. Else you'll be working for getting the correct answer. Let me check out if there is another one. Yeah, let's see this one. 13. Yes. Excellent argument. Shall I read it? United Energy recently invested in a series of large oil mills which are able to produce renewable energy with minimum negative impact to the environment. The company has not drilled oil wells in the same area, even though greater revenue and profits could be generated from oil wells. Right? Because any drilling would disrupt the native habitat of certain marine species in the area, some environmentalists assert that by foregoing this drilling, United Energy has established its place that it places United Energy has established that it places environmental impact over financial returns. Both the bold phrases covered. The however come after that. This comes after the two bold phrases. There is no however in between. There is no contradiction word, but yet or however in between the two sentences. However, United Energy may be acting in a manner consistent with its financial goals. Recent pattern of increasing annual hurricane activity have some experts questioning the long-term viability and profitability of the oil wells in the area. So what these United Energy guys are up to? They did not greater revenue, the first line, greater revenue and profits could be generated from oil wells. What do you think? It's a fact or a conclusion?
It's a fact.
It's a fact, sir.
It's a fact. Obviously, it's a fact that greater revenues could be generated from oil wells. It's a fact. Obviously, not a conclusion. Looking at this job of this company, this fact, this whatever this is there, some environmentalists, they assert, means they concluded that this company has established that it places environmental impact over financial returns. So, bold 2 is what? Fact or a conclusion?
Conclusion.
Conclusion.
Conclusion by whom?
The environmentalist,
Environmentalist.
because
Why
they're
that?
asserting something here.
Environmentalists. But our author has got something else to say. He says that this company is very smart. They have deliberately not done this. They hardly care about the environment. Rather, they are more they are a bit calculative. You can say that they didn't do this because there was some hurricane issue activity that can, in the long term, viability and the profitability of the oil wells in that area is questionable. So that's the reason they are not doing it. So we are not concerned about what it is happening after this. We are restricting our understanding to this place. So this, however, is by the author who says that it's not correct. There is something else to it. Have you understood this much? The first is a fact. The second is a conclusion drawn by some environmentalists, which later on the author of this passage counters by saying a however. Got it? So the first one is a fact, the second is a conclusion. Now let us look at the option. The first supports the conclusion of the argument, the second calls that conclusion into question. The first supports the conclusion of the argument. Is it supporting the conclusion of the argument?
No.
And the second calls that conclusion into question. Absolutely not. The first states the conclusion. First is a fact. The first states the conclusion of the argument, the second supports that conclusion. That means this is a fact and this is a conclusion. While the first one is a fact. So this is just the opposite. Let's look at option C. The first supports the environmentalist conclusion. Perfect. That means it's a fact supporting the conclusion of this environmentalist. The second states that conclusion. That conclusion means conclusion of the environmentalist. Perfect. So C. Let's see the other ones. The first states the environmentalist conclusion. Obviously not. The first is a fact. It doesn't state. Second provides a consideration. No, absolutely not. It's just the opposite again. The first supports the conclusion of the argument. Again, no. The second also supports the conclusion of the argument. No. So our answer is C. In this question, tell me if you do not read the argument, can you make out this? Leave this fact and a conclusion thing. Any challenge? Shall I do it again?
Yes, sir, if you can do it again.
Okay.
From the however part, I just lost it.
Okay, fine. There is an argument given by some author, some gentleman who is writing it. Okay. Something happened. This company came and invested in renewable energy. Okay. In spite of a greater revenue and profit that could have been generated from oil wells. So United Energy, try to understand this argument. Invested in renewable energy instead of more revenue and profit that could have been generated from oil wells. Environmentalists came, they said that this company is great. They are saying that United Energy is placing environment over financial returns. Fair? So look at this. Looking at this argument, these two words function as what? The first one is a fact.
Yeah.
Fair? Fact that greater revenues could be generated from oil wells. So the bold one is the fact. Now bold 2 is when the environmentalists come in the picture, they say that this company has done good work because we conclude from this that they have foregone the profit of larger profits from oil wells and instead they have invested in renewable energy. That means they are placing environment over financial returns. That means it's a conclusion they are drawing based on this fact.
Yeah.
Fact 1, where a greater revenue could have been generated from oil well and the environment and the company instead went for renewable energy. So this is a fact and this is a conclusion drawn by the
B1.
By the environmentalists based on this fact. Now comes our author who says, however, so he contradicts this conclusion by, how do you contradict a conclusion? By
giving different argument.
By putting up
Question.
a new fact. Whenever you are challenging a conclusion, you should come out with a new fact. So he comes out with a new fact that the recent patterns of increasing annual hurricane activity have some experts questioning the long-term viability and the profitability of the oil wells in this area. Got it?
Oh.
So we are here to understand what does these two sentences stand for. The first one is a fact. The second one is a conclusion drawn by the environmentalist based on this fact. Now look at option C. The first supports the environmentalist conclusion. The environmentalists drew the conclusion based on this fact. The first is this. The second states that conclusion. That conclusion means the environmentalist conclusion. The conclusion for the argument is somewhere else, which is given by the author.
Okay.
Which is like, no, United Energy is into some other business. They are smart. They did a calculation and they found that if today maybe I will be earning money, tomorrow I will be suffering losses. Any project planning, whenever it is done with a very long-term vision. So if that is not there, then the project will obviously fail. So this author of ours, he must be somebody who is from this field, and he does an analysis and he finds that this conclusion is challengeable. So he questions this and he comes out with his own conclusion using some facts. Got it?
Yeah. Yes.